Hey everyone. Let's get my headphones on and get to chat and see what's going on. Oh, I'd got something in my eye just as I went live. It really hurts. Ow. Alright, who we got? Hey Explosion, hey Victoria, hey Fishy Cake. Yeah, so the plan today is just to keep developing. I'm probably not carrying on with Buried Things. Me and Niz want to, in probably like a month or so, carry on developing together on stream for like a full game. And we might carry on Buried Things. We're not sure. I think part of it will depend on what kind of results that we get from Ludum Dare. Like, if it happens to be a really popular game, that might convince us to carry on with it. We're not totally sure how sold we are on the idea of Buried Things. Because during LD, it wasn't like an idea that we both loved. It was just one that we were able to do well. So it may be a continuation of Buried Things or something like it, or maybe it'll just be something completely different. We're not sure. But until that point, it's like a month from now, I will certainly be doing something else. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, though. New game for long time or original game? New game for long time or original game? Well, whatever I make is going to be original, right? The one that I'm making from now, I'm not planning on carrying on for ages. It's going to be for probably the next month or so, until the two of us are both free to actually start making something. Because he's going to be, like, he's busy for a week and then he's away in America for a couple of weeks. Also going to California. And doing some of the things that we did as well. He's going to the Magic Castle as well. But yeah, once he's back, once he's free, we really want to start making something. As for what to do on stream, I mean, by all means, suggest some things as well, because I'm not sure what I actually want to start making here. Some immediate ideas that come to mind. Something I mentioned pre-LD for wanting to just like start making a game on stream is to start just making a really basic format, like a format that's often done, like what a first game for someone in an engine like Game Maker, because they're really straightforward and easy to make. But then doing something more interesting with it. So there must be about 100,000 match 3 games and farming games out there, like unpublished ones, just on people's computers, because when they started making Game Maker at 13, it's the thing that they could do. But taking something like a match 3 or a farming game, or I'm trying to think what other, they're the two that definitely come to mind. Like idle games and that kind of thing. But yeah, actually, putting a twist on them, or just starting to add some more mechanics to them that make them way different than just your bog standard terrible match 3 game. Like Undertale sort of meta RPG. I think what I'm going to try and make is something very mechanically oriented as opposed to a story, because chances are it's going to be developed for quite a short amount of time. Probably like Stardew Valley did. That said, don't. I've not played Stardew Valley, so I don't know that much about it. Um, I know Stardew has a lot more going on than a normal farming game. Although, from what I understand, Stardew is still the other mechanics in Stardew are still relatively straightforward. It almost is just it's the natural extension of a farming game, I guess. Like, don't you go to markets and you go fishing for things, and whereas something I've mentioned in the stream before is doing something like a bit weird and off the wall, where you're growing plants, but you're also having to shuffle genomes in those plants or something like that. And do like genetic manipulation on the things that you're farming, just like something that makes it way different. Way more than farming. Alright, what else is in Stardew then? Yeah, I'm not saying that it's like only got a bit more than farming. Like, I know that Stardew's um, got a lot going on. It's but it's what I'm saying is if you were gonna say, let's take a standard farming game and add more stuff to it, it almost feels like the most natural place a farming game could possibly go. Do you know what I mean? Like, a farming game is a resource collection game, and I guess like mining, for example, and fishing and things like that is just other ways of collecting resources. You've also got stuff. Putting a story into any game that usually doesn't have one is the next kind of logical step in a genre. So yeah, like, I'm not, by no means am I bashing Stardew, don't get me wrong. Like, as I say, I've not even really played it. I understand a lot of people really like Stardew. It looks nice as well. From what I have seen of Stardew, it's a good looking game. But yeah, like taking a puzzle format or something like that and adding to it. Just putting interesting new layers on something that people are familiar with. The other idea is to do something a bit Catany, like come up with a game where you have this asymmetrical, like someone has a manual that has to help you through something that isn't bomb defusal. And I'm wondering if you could do something like that with a match 3. Like, you start seeing weird things drop into the screen, and the person with the manual has to work out what you should actually be doing with them. I don't have access to Stardew right now. I don't have it, nor do I think anyone in my Steam library have it. Why don't I do a game like the Game Show Nightmare? What's the Game Show Nightmare, Fishy? Try programming basic stuff instead of going straight for full games. I mean, I actually don't know if there's much difference between like the size of something for a mod or just a very small game. Like what we did over this weekend for Buried Things, in terms of time, may not be dissimilar than what you would spend making, a good mod for a game. One person who's blind while everyone else can see them. They have to explain to the people who can't see what to do. Okay, let's take a quick look. I don't know what's happened to my eye. As soon as I started the stream, it started really stinging. Ow. I feel like I've got soap in it or something. Ow. Is it this? I don't see it. I don't think it's any of this. It's this? Is this a game? Oh, okay, so the name of it isn't Game Show Nightmare, it's just Nightmare. So it's a TV show, it's not a game. Which one involves a team of 4 children, 11 to 16? Okay. Oh, here's another thing actually as well, since this brings up text-based computer games. Obviously making a text-based game is, in its basic form, really, really easy and would also let people like contribute to what they wanted to see in it. So making kind of a text-based game, just as a small project before I start making something with Niz, could be a possibility.
Bright, they delight in stupidity. Triple failure will be at the very least.
Turn right again.
Yes.
And again, yeah.
Forward.
Then go forward.
Stop. Turn
Turn to
right.
Right, turn right.
Forward.
Forward.
Where am I?
Don't go any further.
Right.
Stop there, yeah.
It's a
You're in a
chasm.
room that's changed.
Looks like kind of a cool
That's it,
Yeah,
that's right.
better. She's even had time to do her hair.
cool TV show. I definitely would have been into this as a kid.
Just had to throw you out.
But I'm glad to say, and there is
On the floor, three parts of a key have just appeared.
Yeah.
Go forward.
His accent is great. 3 parts of a key have just appeared. Go forward. Text-based with the manual concept. Oh, I wasn't thinking of mixing those two things, but could be interesting. It's a lot of writing though. It's like it's writing in the game and it's writing in the manual. Is there a cool way of doing a manual-based text-based game? Okay, let's pick something and start making. What's in this macros folder? I have no idea what macros are. think I think I may well start making something that at least has visuals. I don't know whether it's going to be something that has a manual or not. Okay, I think I'm just going to start making a match 3, and then hopefully just start thinking of like weird things that you could do with that format. So by all means, have a think about what you could do that's completely unique with a match 3 game. Like, what would have been just fucking weird if you found it in Candy Crush? It was like, oh, we're doing this now. Okay. I guess let's do that. Object tile. Guess we'll probably just do this as one object with a variable as opposed to lots of different objects for the different kinds of thing that you're matching. Alright, we've got 3 coloured tiles. And I guess let's randomly pick one when we start up. So, image speed definitely needs to be 0, and image index equals. Choose, when we were making buried things, was doing something weird, because I set up choose with the rock texture, the little pebble texture, to choose between 3 images, and it didn't do it. And in the last couple minutes before we export, like when I was doing the rush around to like put clouds in and stuff, I had to change choose to a random range. I don't know why this wouldn't have worked, so I guess I'll try it now and just see, just because I'm curious to see if it actually works. So that's going to choose a random tile. I guess we want a controller object that's going to check. It's going to keep track of how many tiles are in each spot. I'm going to have to remember how to do grids. You gonna play Buried Things? Cool. Yeah, there's a link in announcements. Did you saw some of the development, right? Because the unfortunate thing about Buried Things is obviously once you know where the what the clues mean or where the artifacts are, there's not really any replayability. Some pieces turn invisible for a turn in match 3 would be fun. Yeah, okay, I like that. A match 3 that's about surviving as long as possible and then starting to do weird things with it. Could be cool. Width of the grid to be created. Just width and height, okay, and for the actual name of it, we just set something to it, so. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's quite big, but let's just do it just to start testing stuff. When you first make a grid, what's in it? Is it filled with zeros or is it just like empty? Okay, a grid is a 2D array. Define the grid by setting the width and height. This type of structure allows you to set and retrieve cells. Yep, that's fine. You can also set the value in specific regions and single values and do other stuff, sure. Okay, that's kind of cool. You can actually use decimals to access grid positions. It just automatically gets rounded down to a whole number. Okay, so I don't know what the actual values of the cells start at, if they even have a value. I don't know if they can just be nothing. I think they might get like a placeholder value, like they just come in as 0. Is add region what I want to set things in a region? Or is this going to extend the size of the grid? Which could be used to add a given value. Oh no, that's a literal mathematical add. You increase. It's that I want, right? Sets all the cells in the region with the given ID to the value. That's good. And what arguments does this take? ID is tile grid, and then 2 coordinates. Let's just double check how you're doing this. It's annoying that it automatically minimizes this. So it's the x and y of this, and then the x of y of that, right? Yeah, okay. So it's going to be 0, 0, and excuse me. 3. An x of 11 and a y of 3. And why are you unhappy? Because I haven't said what to actually set it to, of course. So we've got 0 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11. So what I'm doing here is just setting thirds of our grid to the 3 different values. I'm also now gonna... I've never used a for each loop in GameMaker. Does it even have for each? Hey there, Eggfried. Var I equals the size of our grid. What's the variable for grid size? There's width and height. I guess it's just width times height, right? Yeah, we actually do get MFC around here. Manchester Fried Chicken. I'm doing well. We had a great Ludum Dare. I don't know if you saw any of that, Eggfried. How are you doing? So I is equal to the number of cells in our grid. So for I equals... Actually, can we just say that because we've already correctly set it? I guess so. Oh, hang on. We want I to be... No, we want I to be 0. We want I to be less than that. $72-hour work week. Wow. Playing Airsoft. Yeah, I saw some of your Airsoft videos on your YouTube channel the other day. Okay, so this is going to iterate through I for every grid tile that we have. So first of all, we need to make sure we're looking at the correct coordinate of the grid. So, Oh, sorry. One other thing I was going to do here. So we made the 3/3 of the. Actually, no. Well, hang on. Wait. We'll do that in a bit. So, instance create. So we're going to do this. We need to set some variables on the new tile. X and Y are just placeholders. I'll change those in a minute. New tile dot image index equals 0. Okay, so this is what we need to do, and then we need to make sure we're setting X, Y correctly and the image index correctly. That sounds sick. Doing airsoft in courtrooms and prison cells and stuff. That's well good. Okay, so coordinates that we want are, let's make a couple variables here. So X offset, Y offset. I think I'm gonna start the grid on in the room at like 32, 32, because 0, 60. Yeah. So for now, I'll put those in. Wait. They're 32 sized tiles, aren't they? So it's not 32, it's that. So the X value is gonna loop around, so that's gonna be a modulo value. So the X value is I times 32. Because they're 32 size tiles. Then that's going to be modulo the width of a grid. I should also, hang on, I should also set this. In fact, let's be as good as possible about this. So tile width equals sprite get width and sprite tile. And this really should be tile width times 2. So should this. This is I times tile width. Let's also do this up here as well. Wait, I don't even need to do that as a function. If I set my own variables. And then do those in here. Okay. and then this bit becomes a lot easier. Grid width times grid height. This is great. Okay, so I'll have start width, and then we're going to modulo by grid width, and then we need to add all of that to the X offset. Okay, so this is going to take 64. And add that to I times 32. So for the top left corner of the grid, it's going to be 0 modulo whatever is 0. So we begin at 64. And then I becomes 1 times tile width, that all becomes 32, and then we're modulating by... Oh, hang on. Yep. We want to modulo I before we multiply. Okay. And then y is going to be something similar. So y will be y offset plus a sum stuff. And in the sum stuff, we're going to have I times grid grid height. Oh, not grid height, tile width again. Okay, and then we also need to make sure that I is done correctly. So I at the minute is going to increment by 1, but for the y value we want to divide it by 12, or whatever the grid width is. Which means y will go up by 1 every time we run through an entire row. So let's just quickly put some parentheses there. So I divided by grid width, and let's make sure that is getting floored. Is that done? We're going to need to make sure we've actually made an object controller. Which I didn't do. Jesus. And if this works, we'll catch up with chat. Okay, it kind of works, but we're having that weird choose issue, and I'm really curious as to what the problem there is. But the generation is working, so that's good. Alright. Yeah, so the game jam is over. That was 72 hours over the weekend. We submitted our game on Monday evening, 11 PM. You can try it in the server, in the announcements, there's a link to it. So far we've had some like really nice comments about the game. We've seen some streamers playing it. They seem to be really enjoying it. We're really happy with that game. I think we're hoping it's gonna It's going to get rated pretty highly in this Ludum Diary. Oh yeah, I need to kill the Game Jam channels, don't I? I will check out the video that you posted later. Might have had 2 or 9 shots in the back later in the evening. I missed. Yeah, I think it's cool that you are determined to not let things stop you. Like, you're still going to go out and do your ass off and stuff. And yeah, Fishy, school can suck sometimes, and it definitely gets better when you're out of school. My life got way better when I was out of school. There's nothing interesting going on here? Do you mean in buried things? Yeah, I think that's one of the problems that people have been having with buried things, is the conveyance of like what's going on. Some people, when they first load up that game, think that you're kind of just wandering around in the desert digging randomly. Because the clues start off a little bit subtle until you kind of realise what's going on. But there are clues to everything. You should never have to dig randomly in a big area to find anything. If you've worked out a clue, it should point you to a specific spot, or maybe like one of a group of 2 or 3 specific spots. If you need any help with anything, the idea is to be using the clues in the museum menu. So the museum menu button up at the top right, the little like Pantheon symbol, not Pantheon. What's the word I'm looking for that? I can't even think. If you click that like building up in the top right that takes you to the museum, and if you click any of the silhouettes, you get a little hint as to what to do to find it. You found nice, yeah, I like that one. It's one of my favourites, I think. Good find, Egg. Okay, why does choose not work? I'm very curious. I'm just gonna, as a debug, just... I'm also gonna just randomly select a number to send to the console every time one of these tiles gets made, and just see if I get a massive list of zeros. Because if I do, then what the fuck? No, it is choosing. Okay, and if I show the image index as a debug message here, what? So the image index is being saved as 0, 1, or 2, that it is genuinely randomly rolling between them. What? What if I... Okay. What's going on? Sometimes you want to specify something other than numbers for a random selection, or the numbers are not in any real order or a set range. You choose to generate a random result. Looks like someone else has been making buried things. Sprite index, choose sprite cactus or shrub or tree. Yeah, you guessed the sacrificial lot first try. A weird number of people guessed that on their first try. I guess it's just like psychologically the most random looking position in that grid or something. I don't know. No, this function will return the same value every time the game is run, due to the fact that GameMaker generates the same initial random seed every time. Oh, okay, no, that's fine. I'm using randomize. I don't get why this doesn't work then. What if I said random number equals that, and then image index equals random number? If this works, this is a complete mystery. It doesn't work. In that case, let's comment these out and say that image index equals irandom range. I'll fix this range in a bit because I don't really remember how this works. Whether they're inclusive or exclusive. Sounds like you're doing well, like. Oh wait, this isn't working either. What? Oh, this is probably, oh hell, I don't want to be randomizing this, do I? Okay, ignore me. I know why this is happening, because controller is setting it. Controller is setting it. So this is being set to 0. Also, I don't know if you've seen Eggroad, but if you go into the museum menu and click those artifacts, they were all submitted by people from the Great Variety channel, so you can see who's made them. Okay, so we need to correct this. So the image index equals... Can we access a grid by just a sheer count as opposed to a coordinate? I doubt it. What's that? dsgrid value x. With this function you can get the x coordinate. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, that's cool. So I guess we're going to have to do a similar thing where we do modulars and divisions. So tile grid. Just to check if this works. This should make a giant green square. How well do you know your Morse, Eggroad? Try to index a variable which is not in array. Why isn't that in the array? Should be the bottom right corner, right? Why are you saying K in chat, Eggroad? Catch you later, fishy. Apart from these specific functions, you can use an expression to add or modify the contents of your DS grid. Oh yeah, I don't usually do this, do I? I need to use a function which is DS grid get. From any cell. Yeah, okay. And then that will do that. we need to say which grid we're using. So this should give us a big green square. Perfect. So now we want to say that the x value is, again, I modulo grid width. And floor, I divided by grid width. So now we should get 3 bars, like a red, a blue, a green third of the grid. Nice, okay, and finally, the last thing we want to do here is a bit of a cheeky little DS grid shuffle. Yay. Let's put a restart in here as well. Double check your second number there, Egbert. Hey Zobi. What kind of game's being developed? I'm not really sure. So what I wanted to do is start off with a really common and also really like basic game format that you would often see. But then just do something weird with it. Like start doing something more interesting that hasn't been done with that format. So at the minute I'm just starting to make a basic framework for a match 3 game, but then I want to just put some like wacky mechanics in it that you don't usually see in a match 3 game. A cool example is, so we've just taken part in Ludum Dare, which is the global game jam this weekend. Everyone has to make a game in 3 days. And someone made a match 3 game for that, but it's weird. It's almost like match 3 mixed with like Civ or Risk or something. So after your match 3 round is over, all of the tiles, they're not just like coloured tiles, they do represent stuff. So they're pictures of like towns, or like, I think they're like resources, like trees and stuff. And after the match 3 round's over, the idea is to try and get like as many of your buildings, which is one of the colours of the match 3 tile, as possible to be on the grid, and like as few enemy tiles as possible. And then like your minions come out from your buildings at the end of the round, and almost this like it's almost like auto chess, I guess, where they just have this automatic battle based on where things were. So it's like match 3 mixed with almost like an RTS. It's very weird, but something just like completely off the wall like that's very cool. So what I also want to do here is make a couple more of these, because a match 3 game with 3 types seems like it's just going to be way too easy to make lines. So let's make an orange, and let's make a purple. They're all fairly obvious. Let's try and make that a little bit more of a yellow orange. Okay, and instead of doing set region, let me comment these out just for a moment. So we've created our grid, and then for each I, we're going to do a DS grid set. This should take 4 arguments, yep. And I random range 0 to 4, right? So I guess we'll find out from this whether the 0 and the 4 are inclusive or exclusive, because for some reason it doesn't tell me. Which ones have you got left, Egg? And let's put a couple of these variables here, because all three of the arguments I've just put in here are going to get reused. So let's have so X position is this, Y position is this, and random tile is this. So the image index of the new tile is now nice and easy. That is just a random tile. And also here I can just say X position and Y position. That look correct? Off, yep, X plus. I think that should all be okay. Runes, Shy Creature, and River. Yep, Runes and Shy Creature, definitely the two most difficult ones. That's looking good. Looks almost as good as Candy Crush already. Beautiful. Work of art. I guess it's not quite as simple as just generating random numbers though when you're doing a match 3, right? Because you don't want these regions. Every tile you generate can't be in anything more than a group of, like a line of 2. You can't generate these lines of 3. There's a lot of magenta in both that I'm checking. You're probably just seeing one color because it's brighter or whatever. Egg for the sound one. Try and remember, like, wherever you so the way I do it is do the X and Y separately. So find in the, like, traveling north to south. Oh, you've got it. Okay. I was going to say traveling north to south. Work out the points where it starts getting louder, and then it's midway between those, and on the column also, on the row also work out where it starts getting louder, and it's just the middle points of those two. So I guess I need to check now for. Okay, so yeah, before I actually make these tiles, I guess I'm going to do 2 iterate for loops, because before I even make the tiles, I need to check whether I have any, like, rows of 3. Hey, the ostrich run away, but now what? Quick question, Egg. Where did the ostrich go? Because there is a bug with the ostrich in this game. Has he run completely off map, or has he knocked himself out? Run left. Run well. Which one? Run left and just gone completely. If he's left the map entirely, if he's just gone, it's bugged. What you might want to do is, obviously you don't want to restart. Like open a new instance of the game. Just go and do the ostrich. Don't go in your museum menu because I think that's what bugs it. I think if you access your museum menu near the ostrich, then he loses his like target position that he's supposed to run to. So just go and do the ostrich immediately in like a new game instance, and then you'll be able to work out where the tile is, and then you can go and finish it on your main one. Yeah, sorry about that. So we're gonna do this as 2 separate for loops. Because we need to generate the grid first. It's not on the same row as where the bird was. The column, I'll tell you this, the column is 2 tiles left of, so if you see the raised bit of sand above where the ostrich was, that like raised mesa, the left side of that, like the left wall of that, it's 2 tiles left of that. And I think it's like 3 down from where the bird is. So this generates the grid. What am I doing? They want to stay tabbed. And then this is now. Four down. I don't feel like he, in my head, his actual like run animation doesn't slope down enough for that to be 4 tiles down, but yeah, I guess so. Like, to me, I remember him running almost dead west, just very slightly down. But yeah, I guess he runs closer to like a southwest direction. So you can translate them, Egg. They're runes, they're Nordic runes. So if you just go on Google and search like rune alphabet, you should be able to find what it says. Okay, so if I've done this right, this should still work. This should still be doing the same thing of randomly generating the grid. Except now I've got this split into 2 different for loops. Cool, yeah, okay. I'm just going to double check this. Game Maker, our grids destroyed when quitting game. I hope it's not holding those grids like forever. I hope it's only to the current instance of the game. There's no garbage collection. You have to destroy every data structure you create. I'm guessing DS grids are going to get destroyed at the end of the instance because variables will be. I can't imagine it's going to just store all your grids forever just because you've got GameMaker open. It's West. There you go. Okay. This puzzle's like I'm not 100% happy with this puzzle. The obelisk one. What you want to do is leave and come back and see if you notice anything different. So like head inland from where the obelisk is. Get it way off screen and then come back and see if anything's changed. The arrow moves, what do you mean? Oh, the shadow? Yeah. Just gonna keep an eye on this total memory used. If I'm not closing my actual game and I'm just taking the restart button, does restarting your game destroy grids? Is this memory used gonna go up? Yeah, it is going up. Huh. Wow. Okay, and let's put a script here. If DS grid exists, exists is definitely a thing you can do with grid. Oh, it's just DS exists. Okay. I guess it checks for all data types, data structures. If DS exists, tile grid. DS grid. Destroy and tile grid. What's wrong with that? Ah, you've got to specify the data structure type. It's a DS underscore type underscore grid. Old Man Dancing, woo! Yeah, little wind jingle and Old Man Dancing. It went in like the last hour of development. We had very, very little time to get a win screen of any kind in there. The memory use is still going up. Why? Well done on beating the game, eh? What do you think? For 3 days' work. Cheers, man. It's a weird one, because I'm not keen on the game. Like, a lot of the things about it, I'm really, really happy with. I think we've got a lot of polish in there. The actual length of the game, considering we've spent what probably works out to be about 50 hours developing it, like maybe 90 or 100 man hours total developing it, to be able to get someone to play it for like an hour. It's pretty insane. Like most of the time when you make a Ludum Dare game, you're gonna get 3 to 5 minutes worth of gameplay out of it. Hey Steve. Yeah, the music's sick. Niz did a really good job with the music. It's just very, very complete, and part of that is down to the fact that there's not a lot of gameplay to focus on. I didn't have to spend a lot of time coding a difficult mechanic or anything like that. It's the puzzles are very real world, like it's just actual information that you put into an image or whatever. Like the ostrich probably took by far the longest thing to code there, because it's got a couple of steps that are actually programmatic. Like it's got to check how close you are, and then it's got to check that you're correctly behind the cactus, and then it's got to run away when you come out. Most of the other stuff, like the Morse puzzle, there's no programming to a Morse puzzle. You just draw some Morse and put it there and count some squares. So it is partially down to the kind of game that it is, but the amount of content we got in there and the amount of polish that it's got on it for 3 days, yeah, we're super happy with it. But the weird thing about it is that despite the fact that we're really happy with how it turned out, we're not that keen on the premise of the game. I don't rate the puzzles in it. There's 1 or 2 that I think have something going on, but like digging on the actual instruction that tells you how to dig, I like that. That's kind of a cool little meta secret kind of thing. But I mean, fuck, the stone tablet puzzle, terrible. The obelisk is the start of an idea, but the way it's been done isn't very good. Some of them are kind of boring. Just going to the end of the little maze is a bit rubbish. The sound one, I don't think is executed that well. You got it first try. Yeah, I don't think there's anything... Personally, I don't think there's anything that interesting about the game. But it looks good, it sounds good, it's polished. And it's fun to work puzzles out, so... I think it's one of these games that almost tricks you into thinking that it's better than it is. What was I about to do? Yeah, so I need to fix this lines of 3 business going on. Now there's various levels of sophistication we could use to get rid of lines of 3. The first thing we could do is go through each grid tile and check. Actually, before I even start thinking about how we get rid of lines of 3, maybe the way to go is actually just to generate it without lines of 3 in the first place. At the minute, Steve, I'm just making a really basic framework for like a standard game type, and then I want to start adding interesting mechanics to it, just something to make it a bit different. So right now, I'm just making a match 3 game, just like a Candy Crushy type game, but then I want to do something weird with it, like do a genre blend or something like that, where it's actually a very different game. Okay, let's bust out the paint.net and just think about this for a minute. Because we're generating in reading order, so let's just pencil. So you put a color down, and then you put a color down. Let's say it generates 2 reds. When we get to here, in fact, hang on, let's just do some random colors. And then go from the next one. Okay, so we get to here, and we need to make sure that the only thing we really need to check, right, is are the 2 tiles to the left the same color? And if so, you just remove that from the potential list of colors. And are the 2 tiles above the same color? And if they are, then you remove that from the potential list of colors. And that will just always work, right? So make that pink. This is now picking between all 5 colors. And then you look at the top and go, okay, so no reds. You look at the left and go, no purples. And that's always going to make sure that if you just do that check over and over, yeah, that guarantees no lines of 3, right? How's Squadron coming along? There's a couple cards that have been submitted that aren't currently in Squadron. I haven't been that fast with it recently for, a few things. While I've been travelling, I wasn't doing anything with it. I've not done anything with it over Ludum Dare. At the minute, because we were also doing missions a lot recently, so I knew it wasn't going to be appearing. Like, we were trying to do Centurions and things. Now that we're... I think we're probably getting back on the... just doing like random endurance and that kind of thing. I'm gonna catch it back up so that when it starts appearing on there, we make sure it's got everything in it. But yeah, I think that works, right? That check works. You just look at the 2 to the left, 2 up. And if they're all the same color, you just remove that from the potential list. That works. Okay. So we're not going to generate a random grid and then try and remove lines of 3. Or do as Bejeweled does? What does Bejeweled do? Does Bejeweled just not destroy lines of... Does it give you lines of 3 to begin with, but you have to add something else? If it generates lines of 3, remove and reload from the top. Do you get points for the removal? Because I'm fine with that. In a match 3 game, if you're in the middle of a game and a line of 3 comes down randomly, it immediately gets eliminated. You get the points for it. That's fine, because it's really satisfying in a match 3 game, right? When you get that random chain reaction going. Like you do a line, some new ones drop down, and they happen to drop into another line. You get more points, and they keep falling. That's cool. I think when you first generate the grid, you don't want to be doing that. Like you want all chain reactions coming from player interaction, because there's much less satisfaction. When you first generate the grid, if it already starts, it's almost like it's playing the game for you. If you generate a grid that already has lines of 3 that destroy and give you points, that is kind of weird. You want the chain reactions to be feedback to the player playing the game. Using to make bigger lines. Sure, yeah. For the most part, in a game though, like your power ups are gonna in standard play in a match 3, you can't make a line bigger than 5, right? So power ups are usually dependent on for something like Candy Crush, the different patterns of 3 and 4 and 5, or like crossing 3s and 4s and stuff, generate different kinds of power ups. Which means being able to make lines bigger than 5 on turn 1 is a bit of a weird one, because it's unique. We're not going to be putting in power-ups that you get for like a line of 7 just because it happens on turn 1 that you can make a line of 7, but then never again. So yeah, I think it is best if you start the game where there are no lines of 3. But then after that, if a line of 3 drops in from the top of the screen, that's cool. How would you make up to 10 in a line explosion? You can make a line of 5. Obviously, it gets eliminated when you make it, though. If it's 9, if you have 2 lines of 4 and it's waiting for 1 in the middle, remember that the 2 lines of 4 get eliminated. A 5 comboed into a setup 5 combo. It's not just a straight line of 10 though, right? The 5 in the middle drop to make a 9. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you get really lucky. And the ones that are dropping down in the screen from the top of the screen already form a line of 5. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So you'd swap the green in the middle there for a yellow, eliminate 1 line of 5, and then it just happens that 5 reds drop from the screen. Yeah, it's a weird situation, because technically that is actually using a line of 5 that hasn't been eliminated yet. And I guess that's the only instance where you can have a line that's not been eliminated, because it's still dropping from the top of the screen. Yeah, I never thought about that. If you get really, really lucky, you can make lines bigger than 5. With code, for sure. If I was checking for lines in code, it would definitely just be a modular thing. Like, I wouldn't just check up to 5. All I'd be doing is taking a tile, looking in a direction, and as soon as the color changes, that's the end of the line. So it would deal with whatever the length was. Okay, so Power Cube and Power Cube. Which match game specifically is Power Cube from? What's a good way of doing this? It's Bejeweled, okay. So we're going to pick a random number. I could do this iteratively. I could pick a random number, check if it's already, there's 2 up or left, and then just roll again. There's something that feels slightly off about that, because those kind of loops, hypothetically they run forever. It would be nice to have something that doesn't have to loop until you get something that's not. In practical terms, that's fine. It just doesn't feel right. I don't really know, like, when people are developing games and stuff like that, as someone who's not, like, I've just self-taught some stuff. I don't know how often do people use tricks like that. It's the kind of thing that I don't know if it would be considered bad practice. Like, if I say, let's say that we've got a tile that to its left has 2 reds and to its up has 2 blues, and I'm rolling between red, blue, green, orange, and purple. To say, roll a random colour. If it's red, roll another random colour. Like, if it's red or blue, roll a new random colour. And just keep doing that until you get one that isn't red or blue. Obviously, in real terms, that's going to quite quickly give you something that isn't red or blue, because you've got a better than 50-50 chance each roll of getting something that's not. But it still might take, on a bad day, 10 rolls to get a good colour. And technically, it could take 1,000 rolls to get one that's not the right colour, or 1,000,000 rolls. So I don't know, is it considered bad practice to do something like that? I don't really know. So I'm also gonna, for now I am gonna do the iterative loop. Maybe I'll come back and fix it. So var match colors above matched above, and I'll just set that to -1, and var matched left, set that to -1, and if they match I'll set them to the actual number. So if ds grid get equals ds grid get. So we'll do above first. Our grid ID is tile grid. We need to look at the same X position, and we need to do Y position -1, and this would be Y position -2. If that's the case, then matched above is going to equal this. So Bejeweled makes ultra powers that is a 3x3 if you get 6 in a row. When you said 3x3 plus, the first thing that came to my mind is that what you were saying is that the squares that the things are on increased like a level. Like the actual grid coordinate got +1 to its power level or something, and that gives that's the first inkling of an idea for how I could do something different with a match 3. Maybe this is about actually leveling up your grid. So maybe it's almost like a town building game, and when you get matches, the quality of the tile that you've matched on increases. And doing more matches on top of increased level tiles gives you more points and that kind of thing. And it could work almost like a Monopoly style thing where getting a match, you know how you upgrade to house and then you upgrade to hotel. So you start with just arid land, and matching on arid tiles grows moss, and then matching on those grows grass, and then matching on those grows I don't know whether that starts giving you like a mud hut or something, and you start building up like a civilization, like by matching tiles on squares. Yeah, thanks, Explosion. Sorry, Explosion. You corrected me a while ago on that, didn't you? And we want to do another where we check for the X. Now, I'm just curious, this isn't going to work yet. And Explosion, yeah. I might just call it like explode for sure. I'm wondering whether, so here we're looking at the 2 tiles above our current position and 2 tiles to the left of the position. Now for the top row, that's clearly going to be looking at positions that don't exist in the grid. And for the left hand side, it's looking at positions that don't exist in the grid. So I need to check whether GameMaker throws an error, because if I tried to do this in Unity, I know this would throw an error. If I'm trying to check this coordinate, will GameMaker shout at me for trying to check a coordinate outside the grid bounds? It looks like it doesn't. It looks like GameMaker just deals with that. Okay, well, out of interest then, I wonder what it would actually debug to. Is it null? Is it no one? Is it -1? If I don't need to do this in the iterate part. Let's down here, just out of curiosity, show debug message ds get grid. Wait, ds grid get, excuse me. And then tile grid -1 -1. Explode says it might wrap around. It's possible. Okay, so reverse the dependent card. For submit in reverse order, Eggfried, you'll probably be better off saying reverse the multipliers. But yeah, that all looks like it would work. It's all about camouflage, right? I got you. We getting airsoft themed cards. Oh, whatever the defender's attack value was, reverse it. Submit. I'm sorry, I just missed a line entirely. I just saw submit reverse. Submit in reading order. Otherwise, this card's attack is the reverse of the defending card. Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, if I show debug message for a position that doesn't exist in the grid, what will this give me? What's it going to debug to? I'm guessing -1. Undefined? It's just undefined. Okay. And I get a lot of messages saying grid index out of bounds. But it's fine with it. It tells me I'm trying to access something that doesn't exist, but it doesn't actually throw an error. So that's okay. Okay, well, that's fine then. Ooh, okay. Well, here's the thing. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's totally fine. Meshed. Okay. So now I want to do var so different color. For different color equals false. We want to do this until different color equals true. And we don't want to do an increment or anything like that. So random tile equals that, and if random tile equals matched above, hang on, if random tile does not equal matched above, and if random tile does not equal matched left, then different color equals true. I think we're done. I think that should remove lines of 3. Malformed statement. Are you going to shout at me for putting 2 semicolons there? Yeah, you are. That's really annoying. Okay, how do I not use... Fuck. Statement 3. Can I make statement 3 just do nothing? Is the question. Okay, well, I guess I can do a while loop, right? While do I do that or that? While loops are scary things, but I think this one should be okay. Yeah, nice. Check that out. No lines of 3. I expected that to be a harder problem to solve than it was. That's good. Yeah. Oh. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh, that's not good. The first one had no lines of 3 though. Am I not correctly running the create because I'm resetting the room? Oh no, this does have a line of 3. It's really weird that this like almost has no lines of 3, but that one does. And then as soon as I start rolling more lines of 3 appear. Huh. A mystery. That has like 2 lines of 3? Oh no. No, there's a few actually. Okay. I just got lucky the first time around, I guess, then. Okay, what's the problem? Random tile picks a random number out of that. If random tile does not match above and does not match left, intriguing. It is weird that the first time I ran this, I'm pretty sure I had no lines of 3. Was that just pure chance? If DS grid get the X position minus the Y position minus 1, minus 2, matched above, so if they're equal, matched above equals the value of that. Hey, sorry. Ah, why doesn't that work? And how do I debug it? I guess let's check and see if Game Maker's correctly recognize. Like, let's debug anytime we actually get a match. Specifically a let's do this. Anytime we get a vertical match, let's debug the color of that match. Okay, so at no point are we ever actually correctly identifying a vertical match. So the problem is happening before this. Oh, wait. You know what would help? If I was actually doing a debug message. What am I doing? I wrote it wrong. I didn't do it as a function. Must be getting tired. Okay, there we go. Okay, we are now showing matches. So the first one that we should come across should be a 0 followed by a is that 3? That must be 3, right? Oh, okay, that's cool. We get an undefined match. That's interesting. Which is fine. So we're setting matched above to undefined a couple times. Of course, because every single grid on the top row, yeah, should be returning an undefined. And then, yep, we get 0, 3, perfect. And then the next ones that we should get would be another 0 and another 3. Okay. And then we should get 1 2 or 2 2 1, I think. 2 1 2. Oh wait, there's this 3 here as well, and then 2 1 2. Yeah. Okay, so it is correctly finding we can't see this. Is my OBS is still working, right? Yeah, I see it on my phone. Okay, you must be talking about something else. So we're correctly identifying matches. That's perfect. That bit's good. It just seems zoomed in. Oh, shit. Hang on. Why's that done that? Damn, sorry. This has been wrong this whole time? Why the hell did it do that? Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, these are working. We are correctly identifying matched tiles above the current spot and matched tiles to the left of the current spot. That's great. Sorry, guys. And then we make a Boolean variable, which we set to false. And then in a while loop, while this is false, we pick a random number. If the random number doesn't equal the matched above, I don't get it. That should work. Because if we haven't got matches, then this is just -1. That's fine. I don't need to check all 4 around it because it's generating in reading order, right? So every time I drop a tile in, there won't be anything below it and to the right. So I get to kind of cheat it, I get to shortcut it and just check above and left. Now, if I was dropping in a random tile into a pre-existing grid and I needed to do something like this, at that point, yes, I would need to check all 4 directions. But specifically because this is generating a grid from scratch in reading order, yeah, I can do half the work. Am I just doing an if statement wrong or something? Let's try saying let's try that. That definitely didn't work. Are we getting any is it a horizontal problem? Are we getting any vertical 3s? Is it just me, or do we only get horizontal 3s? Am I doing this wrong? Okay, let's debug this. And see if this gives us as much success as the above one did. Oh, fuck. that's what's happening. I've just seen it. I've copy and pasted and not corrected. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, done. This works. So what I was doing is I was looking at... Yeah, that looks good. I was correctly identifying horizontal pairs. I was saying, look at the one to the left, look at two to the left. If they match, then set yourself to be the colour of the one above you. So if the ones to the left matched, I was banning the one above it. Because when I took the code from the vertical check, which obviously should ban the colour above it, like this tile goes, are the two above me red? Okay, ban red. And then it was going, are the two to the left of me orange? Cool, ban red. That's what's happening. So this should now. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Nice. So we're generating our grid. We're not making any lines of 3. That's a good start for a match 3 game. I've been streaming, that's pretty much on the nose, 2 hours now. I think that's a good place to leave it. But yeah, thanks for joining me, everyone. Hey, Arkan. What language am I using? So this is GameMaker, which has its own inbuilt language. Fancier squares will happen down the line. Oh, hey, Fred. 2 people just joined me as I'm about to end the stream. What impeccable timing. Sorry, guys. I've been up for 2 hours, and as soon as I hit the 2-hour mark, about to leave, 2 people jump in. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not an artist. That's why I've got programmer art right now. But if anything, like if I get anywhere. Fred, I need to have data structures, or you won't donate. What do you call this? What do you call a data structure grid? Yeah, boy, I have data structures. Yeah, I'm being better than I was during LD. Just do circles. Yeah, sure. All right. Well, let's 5 more minutes. Can I easily make this into a... How could I make this into a circle? Do I have to just redraw it? I guess I just have to redraw it. Oh, thank you, Egg Fried. I got £1. Is that a data structure or an object? I think everything in GameMaker is an object for it. But it is called a data structure. The DS in DS Grid stands for data structure. Lower the bloom on them. Yeah, fine. Alright, I'll make them look a bit nicer. Intensity. Give it a bit of shadow. What do we reckon? How's that look? Beautiful, right? Is Silly still alive? Yeah, so Silly's obviously started his new job now. He used to work from home, which meant it was a lot easier for him to be around to do stuff. It's unfortunate that so now he gets home at 5:15 his time. So it's felt like we've seen less of Silly recently, which is of course a crying shame. But I think he's enjoying his new job so far, so that's good. Alright. Are you all happy? Let's grab a blue one. That's a nice shade of blue. Let's make a green one. I'm sorry this isn't very colorblind friendly, but I can fix that later. If anyone in chat shouts at me for being colorblind, then I'll sort it at that point. Let's get a nice orange one. So orangey yellow, try and distinguish it from red. And last of all, a nice pourpre, a nice purple, a nice violet. There we go, a nice grape beret purple. Alright, how's that? Let's run a game. Oh, hey Rainbow. Why so many people joining just as I'm just as I'm ending the stream? God damn. There you go, that looks a bit better, doesn't it? It's also it's interesting how much harder it is to actually like spot the patterns here. When it's just these block color, like bright squares that all of probably because all the edges touch everywhere in the grid, you spot the lines of like twos and of course usually more than that as well. Immediately, you see them so quickly, and then as soon as you change them to these circles where they barely touch, all of a sudden it's really hard to see the twos and threes, like just at a glance. Obviously, if you look for a little bit in an area, you'll start seeing them. But you don't just look at it and immediately you spot every single like line of three in the grid. Bloom could be a bit higher. All right, hang on. Wait, that's not what I meant to do. What are the default values for this? Is it just 100, 100? No, it's not. It's really weird. There you go. Be smart about it, make a single white circle and change the RGB feeling code. Yeah, I could do that. I could use a colorize. The reason that I'm not bothered about doing that right now is because eventually the art for something like this would end up being not just the same repeated texture with a different color. So I'm just quickly doing an indexed sprite. Yellow needs to be more yellow, sure. I mean, to me it was orange. I just made it a yellowy orange to distinguish from red, but we can make it yellow. We can make this a full-on. I don't want to make it too yellow because then it starts looking green. Let's actually darken the green up a little bit. Oops. Yeah, so eventually, like if I was doing anything with this, I would just have actual sprites. should always be bothered about the future. Well, the reason I'm doing it like this, Fred, is because in the future I wouldn't be doing a recolorize. So like I right now I don't mind how these look as long as they're different colors. Whatever that is fine. So yeah, I'm making a match 3 game, but I just want to. Obviously, I'm not just making a match 3 game. That would be boring as hell. I don't want to just recreate Candy Crush. The idea is that we come up with cool ideas to change what is an otherwise overdone formula. And one idea I was having is maybe almost like a Settlers type game where this ends up being like land, and matching tiles, those grid positions wherever you've matched stuff, like level up, and you slowly build a civilization. The more you match these circles on certain tiles, the more like it increases the productivity of the particular square that you've matched it on, or something. Maybe you could even have like invade. See, yeah, that'd be kind of cool, right? This is almost like an Age of Empires game. Your town is down here, and then enemies start coming at you over here, and you've got to try and match tiles and on top of the enemies that are moving, and it damages or kills them to try and help out your town as much as possible. So not only do your villagers attack any enemies that come at them, which you're hurting by matching tiles, then you can also match tiles down here to increase your town or like build new soldiers or whatever. Age of Empires, but controlled with a match 3 game. There you go. That does exist somewhere. Ah, okay. Well, maybe we'll try and come up with something different then. If you can find it, Egg, send it over. Different game modes for this. That is also a match 3, almost like a mini game style thing where like every 20 seconds or something, the format of the game you're playing just switches. So like all of a sudden you're just doing something entirely different. Like WarioWare Match 3 could be kind of fun, where you do have lots of these different little mini games, but that are all roughly based around a Match 3 formula. You could do something like that. Alright, I'm going to close the stream out here. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for the donation, Ekfred. And yeah, I'll catch you all on the flip. Bye bye.